Hello, everyone. I'm Zeffie Davy, and with me, of course, we have Songbird Grandmother, and we're ready to talk about this week because this is going to be an intense week. We having the eclipse are coming up. We feeling like the energy is so really intense with this eclipse because I think this eclipse also, Songbird, is connecting to the eclipses that happened like 6 months ago into a year. So that coming, what do you think? They're coming together in a sense to shift us and initiate us to a new level of our lives. Because as we talked a second ago, you said, oh, this month is like all the religions that we know, all the traditions had big celebrations of, the ascension, not the ascension, but the rising of Christ, because this is the risen of Christ today for us in Greece, because we're,
Mm-hmm.
almost a week later from the Catholic.
All right. It's
So
like the Ramadan is about cleansing and fasting and purifying and going back to the Holy Lands. And then you've got the death and rebirth of Christ. And you've got in the Toltec traditions, this is the month of shedding and releasing and letting go. So it's like this global theme of letting go, shedding, preparing, connecting more to the spirit world. And the eclipse is just going to be like that little cherry on top that just goes.
in Greece also, and I think in the Catholic tradition, they do fast. The Greeks fast for 40 days
Oh,
before.
wow.
So we fasting, you know,
Mm-hmm.
tonight at midnight when Jesus is risen, that's when we eat meat again.
Yeah, that's like in the Catholic religion, you do Advent, right, where they give up something
Mm-hmm.
until Easter. So there's this like tradition of sacrifice, fasting, cleansing, purifying during this time, and they're all lining up in April this month for I feel like I was telling you a big transformational summer. We're going to have a very intense summer, specifically like June, July after that solstice. I think we're going to see some real shakeups in the world.
I agree. And just getting it back to this week, I feel this week is a big initiation of this cleansing, this fasting, this shedding, this, really understanding what is finally time for us to go into instead of like keep holding on and not really flowing into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the resistance. And I think those really grand revelations, if we're really, if you're fasting, you're purifying, you're shedding, you're in the work, you're going to have like those grand revelations that are not just this for this year, but could be for a lifetime. These are
Yeah.
those big moments that change your destiny.
Yeah,
And
and you're right, doing this cleanse. I mean, in Sedona, we used to do cleansing all the time. So we have the revelations all the time. But, I love doing juicing this time, and I
mm,
feel when I do juicing before like a big traditional holiday, it just kind of shifts my body, because I feel also our body's going to be having an initiation. Our body's going to go through a kind of like transformation. And Pluto is actually controls the body.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Not controls it, but it has to do with the body. So you know if you have Pluto in a specific area, your body gets regenerated all the time. But I think
right.
this is the initiation that happens, that our body is going to be regenerated also.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what you're thinking of, the summer, because this initiation can just take time and we can resist it because we're resisting, a lot of that flowing into our bodies.
Yeah. And I think, that's the part where you make those life-changing decisions with your body too. It could be diet, it could be exercise, it could be people around you. It could be whatever influences you. And is it keeping you in a like healthy state or an unhealthy state? right? Because your body needs the support to regenerate itself. And I think a lot of it is going to have to do with, like we talked about before, with the salt and the minerals
Mhm.
and the balance of those two things. And especially around what's going to be available food wise.
Yeah, because I heard the 18,000 cows just got blown up in America, in
I know.
Texas.
That was terrible. I saw a video with the sound of all those cows. It was horrible. It was a horrible sound. And, that's, it's not just that. You see all these like food places being blown up and warehouses. There's something going on with the food supply right now. And I feel like even a lot of people I've talked to, they say the food tastes terrible now. Like everything you buy, the food doesn't taste like it used to. It doesn't taste good, and so a lot of us are going to have to go through a stage of what is really good to eat and what is not. Like the things you used to eat before, you can't eat anymore, and you're going to have to probably stick some seeds in the soil if you can, and start growing stuff.
Yeah, in Greece we have a tradition of buying lamb or buying, veal, not veal, sorry, lamb for Easter. And I went to a monastery because I know they feed them, correctly. And I just, decided that I just buy a whole lamb, cut it in pieces, and then, eat it maybe once a month, because I want to start eating very natural from the island food instead of eating food from, because here in Greece they have this interesting thing. The baptized, uh, they call it baptism, lamb that comes from other countries, they put a stamp on it and say it's Greek.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sounds like an
They
American
can
thing.
come from Bulgaria, they can come from, whatever other country, and they put a stamp on it and says Greek.
Oh.
This is what they're doing. So I decided I'm just going to go to a monastery. I'm never going to buy meat anymore from the store. The only thing I cannot get is hamburger, if you want to make some hamburger, but which I don't eat very often anyway. But I like to eat lamb because it's more connected to our bodies. In the Hindu tradition, they say lamb is the most actual thing that connects closer to our DNA, and our body digests better.
Mm.
you
Yeah,
know
and I think Mongolia too, they eat lamb after they have babies, because
mm,
the lamb, or well, the animals in Mongolia, they eat hundreds of different herbs from the land. And so you don't have to eat all those herbs. And so
mhm.
they believe that when you eat the lamb, then you're eating, you're getting all that nutrition. And if you think about like the way food is now, it's devoid of nutrition. That's
It
why people have to take all these vitamins and supplements and this, and that, when our ancestors didn't have to do that because they ate off the land.
off the land,
And
and the land
that's
you're belonging to, because they say you should not eat beyond 500 miles or something like that, of where you live, or maybe it's a lot less. I don't remember that. I heard that
yeah,
because
yeah, that's
you
that's why
take,
the Navajo, we don't eat seafood.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, in Greece, I'm lucky I can eat seafood.
Yeah, but then like my mom, she's Korean and she's like in Colorado, so she really misses seafood because that was the food she grew up near. So it's like, I think we talked about this last time, where it's like the waters that your mother was born is what you have to go back to.
Yeah,
So like the water, the food, the everything. And that's why, like, when we say you're indigenous, we're really talking about where you come from, the land that you come from. And then that also relates to your diet, your DNA, your genetics, your history, your culture, like the whole thing. And I feel like at this time in our human history, more people are going to be looking and searching for those, because beyond, like people say, oh, you should be a vegan, or you should be a this, or you should be a that. I really feel like it's what your genetics are.
I agree. I agree.
Like people eat for their blood type or this, that, and the other, because some people, that type of diet they thrive on, and then like other people, they just can't. Their body starts breaking down.
When I became a vegetarian in the 80s, after I came back from India, my body actually broke down because my body did not want the vegetarian,
Mhm.
because back then we didn't have all the vegetarian food that we have now. And
Yeah.
actually, you're eating a lot of sugar, a lot of breads, a lot of fried, like I would go to Burger King. This is very funny. And I would just take the hamburger out and tell them to put onion rings in it. To eat hamburgers, and I will eat a burger with onion rings on it. And back then in the 80s, they look at me like weird, you know.
Look at you, little strange.
And then I used to go to this other place, and it was all sugar and it's all, breadish and flours, because back then we didn't even have the flours that we have now. So my body broke down. My thyroid went crazy. And since then, I started gaining weight, and I was very skinny.
Mm-hmm.
My body got ruined. So now I give my body what my body's called for,
Yeah.
and I'm not feeling guilty by doing, a little meat. I don't feel guilty by doing a little fish. I just give what my body needs,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
that's very important.
I think that's important for this time, just in general, is to give your body what it needs, not necessarily like what it's addicted to or craving, but what it actually needs. And your body will say, it'll say, oh, I would want a salad, or oh, I want some lamb, or oh, I want this. And you'll know it's right, because it's like when you eat it, you feel like satisfied.
Yeah.
Like something in your body feels like it got nutrition, it got revitalized. You have energy, you're not depleted, you're feeling more vitalized. And I think after this whole shedding season and everything, especially like the 20th and into that doorway, people are gonna start to feel more like ready for the spring and the newness and the freshness. And I hear a lot of people telling me they're sweeping and cleaning and decluttering, and it's like a natural process we go through to clean
Yeah.
our inside and outside bodies.
Yeah, definitely. I believe that the initiation is happening into our bodies right now. So we have to think to watch what we're eating and what we give in. But also, even if we crave something that, say, maybe we didn't do it and now we want to do it, it's okay, because then you need to feel happy and comfortable with it, instead of like saying, oh, why I'm doing it, but I don't want to do it. Because when you put that negative thought in there, that's also, it's not a good thought.
Yeah.
So being initiated into your body, that's, to me, that's so powerful. I love getting initiated in my body. I love my body really connecting to the energy and to the fullness of it.
Yeah. And to dance.
Dance. Yeah.
Way that you can it's a funny thing, because like in the shamanic traditions, part of connecting to spirit is dance.
Yeah.
Dance is a vital part of spirituality. And I think as we get older, we forget that our bodies love to dance. Babies do it naturally. You turn on the music and they're just already, it's something natural about our body too. And it's a good way of releasing and shedding and refueling yourself and connecting to the earth, if you can go outside and dance or even get some sunlight. I think the body needs it, because it's carrying a lot of spiritual, emotional, mental, emotional, like there's a lot of stuff the body holds.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. In your cells, correct? Is your cellular
Yeah.
memory that holds everything.
It holds all that. And everything you're thinking, everything you're feeling, everything you're doing is in the body. The
Yeah.
body is experiencing it.
And that's good to do the shedding, maybe also it's a good thing to get a dry brush, do dry brushing on your body, and then maybe take a bath or a shower. I find dry brushing very, very powerful part of the shedding,
I
because
love that.
dry brush your body, it's all the cells go away, all these old cells, and there's new cells come in. So
Yeah, and it cleanses the lymphatic system, which is really hard to drain. So
exactly.
there's a lot of good stuff with that. And those loofahs, those are actual like sponges from like a vegetable type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I want to grow them. I have the seeds, but I saw the process of making a loofah and I was like, I don't think people understand, like, they go to the natural grocers or whatever and they buy the loofah, like how much went into that.
I bet.
It's a huge process. That
Yeah.
thing, if you had made
And
it,
instead of plant, you can grow it.
it's a plant. It's almost like a squash or something, but then you have to do all. I was like, I thought you just plant it and put it in the sun or something, but no, it's like a whole process of drying and wait. I mean, it's not like here's the plant and then you're just gonna start dry brushing.
It's not like the aloe vera, you can cut it and just put it on.
I don't think until we've made our own loofah bars we'll really, appreciate all that went into that, because from it going from a plant to like a hard sponge thing, it takes a lot of work.
I'm gonna go look into it. I never thought about how loofahs are made. Now you're giving me a big curiosity to see, because I love loofahs and I love
Yeah,
scrubbing my body and I love just, going through this process.
yeah, and
I
they're
could,
like $10 at natural grocers, but if I was to make it, I'd be charging like $500.
that would be an expensive loofah.
Because when you make something and you go through the process of planting it from seed to harvest, you have a different respect for that plant and that process than when you just go to the store and buy it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the whole process, and that's why I love gardening, because you get to see something go from nothing to something you can eat, or you can do something with. And I think that in this next stage that we're heading to, it's going to require a lot of creativity and a lot of like going back to what our grandmothers and grandfathers did.
As you were saying that, I got an intuitive feeling that we might start seeing that very soon,
Yeah.
you know, maybe in the next few years, because if they're blowing up, I mean, if there's explosions on the eggs and the chickens where they happened a couple months ago, and now they're having the poor cows. I mean, just all of them died. I don't know the story. Do all 18,000 died?
I think so. I'm not sure either. I just saw a video of the sound.
Mm.
But I also, saw live streaming of recycling plants catching on fire at the same time. I've seen the warehouses where our food is stored. And then not only that, there's the floods that have happened in California. Even in Sedona, the floods happened, and how we get like corn and watermelon and all that stuff. Those we don't know what the harvest will be, and in California, it's been raining for months and months, and all that farmland is flooded, and a lot of farmers are paid not to farm.
I heard that. Yeah.
So, and that's going on globally. So, where is our food coming from? If it's in short supply, because I mean, you already go to the grocery store and a lot of shelves are empty. A lot of things, a lot of brands are rebranding and taking things out and putting other things in, or making boxes smaller and prices higher. So I think in general, because even this year that we're in the Tono Poali, the potential that we're in, it has a lot to do with agriculture and food. It's the goddess, or the mother, the grandmother of
Mm-hmm.
the agriculture and the earth. And one of the ladies in our group said, "Does that mean we're gonna have food problems?" Because we can already see it.
It's
And I
already
think
happening. Yeah.
it's already happening, and I think it's kind of a push for us to see, like, okay, what can I plant in my space? If I'm in an apartment, I could do container gardens. You could do hydroponics. You could do little herb gardens, and then swap with your friends. There's something coming with food.
Yeah. And yeah, I feel that too. Very, very intensely. I feel that.
Mhm.
We're
Yeah.
not gonna have the variety of food that we used to have.
Mm-mm.
So we have
No.
to really just, see where we are with food and what the intakes, and maybe support the local farmers so they can give us more food and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And learn to do stuff. Learn, to cherry tomatoes, like anything you can do. And then that's part of the initiation this week. And with what you're talking about with the body, is understanding, what are the staples that your body needs.
Yeah, you're right.
What are the basics, the staples that your body thrives in, and the condition in which you are in? Because another thing that's really hard right now that I got a hit on last, like I've been getting a hit, but really last week I was like, it's the herbal knowledge people need too,
You're right.
because drugs and everything are coming from very far. They're coming from overseas, and they are also coming in short supply. Like some people are talking about there's shortages in asthma medicine, there's shortages in even Adderall and things for ADHD and like drugs that people need. But there are also plants and herbs that if you were not able to get those drugs, you could, start with.
And I
You know,
believe that's a better way for us to go than being addicted to those drugs.
yeah.
Because,
Yeah, but it's really hard to go from like a chemical hardcore drug
yeah.
to an herb.
But you got to do it slowly, because here in Greece also because we don't have a lot of the drugs that, it takes us sometimes a week for me to get some things from my mother. But she's
Mhm.
80 years old, so I'm not going to put her through a detox, right now. She's not even going to hear it. But, I'm saying, like, for me, for example, I haven't taken an aspirin since I was 20 years old.
Mhm.
I tried to do everything naturally, and I tried to for my body to be adapted to what's going on.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I do all the medicine work and stuff, so I'm a proponent of the herbs, but I feel like this is gonna be like something people need to know.
Yeah, agree. To study
Just
the
to, yeah, just like what is the replacement for Tylenol? What is the replacement for diabetic medicine, or because there are different herbs and things that you can get that a lot of times will get you off of them. You don't even have to take them anymore, right? And
true.
with the right diet and the herbal stuff and the right, conditions, your body will thrive no matter what is coming down the road.
Yeah. So this is the initiation of the body. I think that's a very good, stuff that we talked about, because when when the body gets initiated like that, it's just about really, what do I say? Like I told you earlier, I feel very excited about it. Like your body
Mhm.
can actually shift and transform and, rebirth. And in a sense, you don't have to die to be rebirthed. It's happening, by it's just happening by doing it, regenerating. That's what I mean. By
Yeah.
doing the natural things in your body, you know?
And that's interesting because these ancient practices, that's what they're built on.
Hmm.
And it's interesting, it's around the same time, baby springtime, when grandmother is just a little girl, the Mother Earth is just emerging from her slumber. And she's saying, okay, let's cleanse, let's spring clean, let's, get our bodies in shape. I think the thing that's really funny about like when you go through the Advent and stuff, then you give up the thing, right? And then you just go right back to it. But it's like instead, why don't we just give up the thing?
Yeah,
You
you're right.
know, like, some people stop smoking or stop eating chocolate or stop, cursing or whatever they do. But it's almost like they just can't wait for that day to come to go back to it. Instead of like saying, well, what if I just continued down this road of not smoking? You know, what would my life be like? It's almost like you get this opportunity to really change, and are you going to take it and go for it?
No, they do it for a short moment and then they go back right at it again. So the thing maybe this initiation into our bodies will make us more understanding what we actually need to give to our bodies. That is the right thing for us.
Yeah, and I think too, with all this eclipse energy and everything happening, your body will very forcefully tell you what it can and cannot tolerate.
And we got to start listening to it. We
Yeah.
have to. Otherwise, we get sick if we don't listen to it.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Like, you can choose the easy road when your body says, I don't think we should be eating this anymore. And you're like, oh, okay, I agree. Oh, I don't feel good. Right. Or you can take the hard road, which I think is the most chosen road, the hard road. And it's like, oh, I don't care. I'll just keep doing it. And then, and then it becomes something that you
But
have
isn't
to
it
change.
that human nature that like we choose the hard road? I think it's time for us to choose that easy road, the maybe not the easy road, but the one is flowing naturally, you know?
Yeah, that takes intelligence. Like not just not like a book intelligence, but like a universal intelligence where it's like, okay. And I think that also takes maturity because when you're 20, it's different than when you're 50, 60, 70, when you're older, because then you've already been through that and you're like, I know that means this, right?
Yeah.
I know that's what that means. Now I have this choice to change. And that's what I was talking about in my videos lately is we often don't change until the universe forces us to change.
Yeah. And we don't need to go there anymore. We need to just actually allow the shift to take place. We
Mm-hmm.
didn't need a big slap in the face to wake up.
No, I mean, if we want to, it's a choice. You want the big slap in the face. The universe says, "Okay, I tried to tell you."
No, I personally don't. I personally, it's like, I remember years ago we used to say in Sedona, we used to say, like, what do you want? Like a 4x4 in your head to wake up? That's what you want. No, I don't want 4x4 in my head. You know what I mean? I just need to really accept it that the change is coming and just flow with it.
And just prepare for it and know it's coming. But I think there's also this thing, and we talked about it in previous videos, that we just don't believe it oftentimes.
Yeah.
We're shocked or in denial. And that's the hardest part with people, I find, because when I do readings and you could tell sometimes it takes like 100 times to tell the person the same thing over and over and over again, and you still leave knowing that that person didn't get it,
Or they don't want to get it, or they listened and then they just feel like, it's not for them or something, you know?
until the 2x4 happens, and then
Exactly.
yeah, and then you're like, oh, maybe I should have listened, right? But then I find, like, certain cultures, when they come for a reading, they really absorb the reading. Some people, but especially like Asian culture, when I do readings for Asian people, I see like they really absorb the reading, and then the next time I see them, they take those steps and their life has transformed. Because it's all about how you respond to the messages the universe is giving you.
I agree.
And then when you're ready, to take the action. But I don't think you're ever ready for change. Change is something that just happens.
I guess I'm ready. I love change.
Yeah, change is something that
Look
you
at,
have to like.
look at what's going on in my life the past week. I'm like here, there, everywhere. There's nothing,
Yeah, and
by next week I might be in Sedona. Who knows?
it also depends on what change is. Certain changes are harder than others.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But I think if we can remember that these eclipses offer us a grand opportunity to see what is the change in our life, what direction we need to take, what we've outgrown, what we're ready to step into. I always know that eclipses is like a whole reset.
Yeah. And we are on the verge of a big reset anyway.
Oh yeah,
We haven't seen anything yet.
we're like right smack in the beginning of it.
Yeah. We're just in the verge of it. So we haven't seen anything yet.
No, and who knows the change that we will see.
And I think this month is going to show us a lot of those resets, this reset energy.
Yeah, the third eye has really awoken in people.
You're right.
And when the third eye awakens in people, it only amplifies what is already going on.
Yeah.
So, how some people, they have like that Kundalini awakening and it leads them to almost insanity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then other people have the Kundalini awakening and it just catapults them to the next stage of their life.
Yep.
It's because they were ready for it. Like when you're not ready for a Kundalini awakening or a third eye awakening, it will just amplify everything. And
And
it will
you can even go crazy with Kundalini awakening if you're not ready.
Oh, yeah, sorry. That's
Hello,
my
kitty.
I didn't want her to go towards the candle. She's
Yeah.
like, that's what a Kundalini awakening is like when you're not ready.
I'm just gonna go by the candle. That's what cats do. They go anywhere.
Oh my god. I am always like having to watch where the burning is happening. But you know, when you're ready for change, change will come. When you're ready for the Kundalini and the third eye awakening, but it's happening.
Yeah,
Regardless if we're ready or not, it's happening.
I agree. Oh, wow. That was another really interesting conversation and video because that we're doing because I feel the intensity of the week coming up to the end of the month. I feel it very strongly.
Yeah, and I think the last few videos we've done have been really highlighting that intensity.
Yeah, yeah, right. But it seems like we're getting closer to it's kind of like it was like the beginning of it, like what we foresaw. And then now it's just like it feels like we in it, right now.
Yeah.
And I've been hearing from a lot of people that intensity.
Oh yeah, it's life changing.
Yeah, huge, huge life.
This eclipse is really leading us for the rest of the year, and those other astrological alignments that you were talking about. It's going to be a really interesting year.
I agree.
Depending. I think for some people it's going to be like the year of a lifetime, like opportunities lining up, things really coming into place. And for others, it's going to be like a total meltdown to reborn again.
Yeah. And I think we should just accept all those aspects, and be okay with them as is happening in our lives.
Oh yeah.
Just,
To balance.
yeah.
Because it won't all be good and it won't all be bad. It'll be a mixture of the two.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's true.
So.
Well, I think we kind of said everything that we needed to say for this week. Just watch what's going on with your body. Just watch what's going on around you with the energy and just shed and, maybe you're ready to resurrect and, rejuvenate. And because that's what the energy is about. It's about your body. So thank you for watching us. Thank you, Songbird.
Thank you, Debbie.